The animal kingdom. A remarkable array of living, breathing natural wonders. Majestic. Compelling. Ingenious. And extraordinary. Fascinating. Physical. Visceral. And ferocious. Discover their past, present, and future. Just stunning. Just glorious. Just amazing. Just animals. Hippos and rhinos. Two of the largest and heaviest land animals walking the planet. While they both have thick skin, each beast has distinct features. The crowning glory of rhinos are their formidable horns. It's these growths that give them their name. Rhinoceros, from the Greek, means nose-horned. Found in both Africa and Asia, there are 5 different species of rhinoceros. All are able to reach or exceed a ton in weight. On land, only elephants are bigger. While a rhino's skin looks like natural armor, the thick exterior of a hippo is more like a wetsuit, perfect for their semi-aquatic lifestyle. Rotund bodies, stumpy legs, and an affinity for the water. These are what hippos are famous for. It is this love for the water that gives them their name. Also derived from the Greek, hippopotamus means river horse. What were once grouped together as pachyderms, hippos and rhinos are now recognized for their fascinating differences. Unique characteristics that go much deeper than their substantial exteriors. Hippos and rhinos are both ungulates, mammals with hooves. Common hippos are the heaviest, even-toed ungulates. Rhinos are the biggest odd-toed ungulates. As fellow mammals, they are all vertebrates, animals with a backbone. Hair is another mammalian trait. On hippos, it's only seen around their mouths or sprouting from the end of their tails. Sumatran rhinos are the hairiest members of their family. Female mammals give birth to live young that suckle on milk. Baby rhinos and hippos are both called calves. In terms of classification, the two groups now diverge into different orders according to toe numbers and digestive systems. The Artiodactyls, which translates to mean even toes, are a large order with 220 species. These mammals digest their food in one or more stomach chambers. Hippos branch off into a family of their own. Rhinos are Perissodactyls, a comparatively small order of about 17 species. These mammals have 1 or 3 toes and break down plant materials using hindgut fermentation. The rhino family has 5 species with varying numbers of horns. Many animals have horns, but not all horns are the same. The pairs seen on a bovine, for example, have a bony core, while those adorning a rhino's snout don't. Their horns are actually made of compacted keratin, the same fibrous protein that hair and hooves are comprised of. Like hair, these daunting projections continue to grow throughout the rhino's life. Scientists have scanned rhinoceros horns and shown the cores contain calcium and melanin, which give them strength and UV protection. As the horns grow larger, they have a tendency to curve towards the animal's head, because the keratin in the front grows faster. If a rhino's horn does get worn down or broken, it will steadily grow back. Growing is something common hippos excel at. Spending time in the water relieves their bodies from the strain of their vast size. When on land, the webbing between their toes fans out to evenly distribute their body weight. The anatomy of their 4-toed feet gives hippos excellent balance, allowing them to safely waddle on dry ground. Or along the floor of a river or lake. While all mammals need to breathe air through their lungs, mature hippos can hold their breath and stay submerged for 5 minutes or longer. On African safaris, rhinos are one of the big 5 animals to look out for. As an added bonus, this continent boasts 2 rhinoceros species. Southern Africa is home to the white rhino, while the smaller black rhino has patchy distribution in eastern and southern regions. The largest member of the family is the white rhino, which bear 2 horns on their snouts. A typical male or bull can stand 180 centimeters tall at the shoulder and weigh up to 2,500 kilos. The largest on record weighed a further 2 tons. Females, known as cows, are shorter and lighter. Their maximum is 2 tons. Their names are deceiving. Both are dark grey in colour. White rhinos are also known as square-lipped rhinos. One look at their mouths explains this. They are the perfect shape for grazing. The front horn typically measures 90 centimeters in length. On females, they can extend further. One final feature that helps white rhinos stand out are their impressive shoulder humps, a massive muscle to support their large heads. Apart from having smaller dimensions, black rhinos have a hooked lip, which they use for browsing. While they usually have 2 horns, some can grow 3. From Africa to Asia, which hosts 3 species. The greater one-horned rhino of India and Nepal, the Sumatran, which can be found in parts of Indonesia and Malaysia, and the Javan rhinoceros from Indonesia and Vietnam, considered to be one of the rarest large mammals on Earth. In terms of size, greater one-horned or Indian rhinos are second to the white rhinoceros. The folds in their skin have the appearance of armor plating, and the surface of their legs and shoulders are bumpy. Their single horn can grow up to 1 meter long. Like black rhinos, their upper lip is prehensile or grippy. Compared to their Indian relatives, the Sumatran species is roughly 1/3 of their size. Sumatran bulls reach heights of 150 centimeters and tip the scales at a comparatively petite 800 kilograms. Sumatran rhinos also have grippy upper lips. Their reddish-brown bodies have 2 prominent skin folds, one circling their necks and another behind their front legs. Hippos are a family of extremes. At one end of the size spectrum is the well-known hippopotamus or common hippo. Large males can measure up to 5 meters in length and weigh 1,800 kilos or greater. The only other species is the pygmy hippo, which are roughly half as tall and 1/4 the weight of their cousins. While they both reside in Africa, pygmies are found in the West, with commons inhabiting eastern regions south of the Sahara. Body size isn't the only factor that separates these 2 family members. Hippos live in grasslands, spending their days in clear, still water. In contrast, their rare pygmy cousins reside in humid forests. As for water conditions, the swampier, the better. Compared to common hippos, they have sleeker bodies, with smaller heads, narrower mouths, and longer legs. Overall, a better design for getting around dense vegetation. In both species, bulls are larger than cows. On average, the differences are modest, but with common hippos, males can be double the weight of the females. Living in remote and harsh environments means a struggle for survival. To help them succeed, both of these creatures have their own innovative range of adaptations and skills. Living in warm climates, keeping cool is a major concern. Hippos can't sweat, a good reason why these river horses never stray far from water. While they spend a great deal of their time in it, they never actually swim. They can't. Instead, they walk. It's a well-hidden talent. When a hippo submerges, they sink the whole way down. Then, they stride along the bottom. To glide faster, hippos can use their toes to push off objects on the floor. Their underwater walking skills are enhanced by their ability to hold their breath. Hippos can see well below the surface, as they have a clear membrane that covers and protects their eyes, like goggles. Hippos can also sleep when submerged, thanks to a special reflex that has them bob to the surface, take a breath, then sink again, all without waking. When they are conscious, hippos can enjoy long, safe soaks. Having their eyes, nostrils and ears situated on top of their heads means they can breathe and monitor what's going on around them, while keeping the rest of their body hidden below the waterline. To remain watertight, the ears and nostrils on a hippo have muscles that pinch them shut. When they resurface, these open. The spray from their exhale is like the mist from a whale's blowhole. In the water, their pace is leisurely. On land, hippos can, despite their bulk, break into a run if needed, achieving speeds of up to 23 kilometers per hour. As you would expect, rhinos are faster, able to hurtle along 2 times quicker or more. They are also excellent swimmers. Indian rhinos in particular spend up to 60% of their time wallowing. Thermoregulation is one reason. Another is skin protection. Water means mud, and a thick layer of mud keeps insects at bay and works like sunscreen. Their skin might be thick, but it is sensitive and needs care. Hippos have the same problem. Water and mud work for them in the same way. Plus, when they do come ashore, they secrete a red substance that moisturizes their skin. Known as hipposudoric acid, it is thought to have sun-blocking and antiseptic properties. Clumps of grass can function as natural umbrellas as well. Protecting their skin is one way these animals look after themselves. Another way is through self-defense, a skill both of these vegetarians excel at in their own unique ways. A rhino's strategy centers around their horns, backed up by their bulk. If threatened or provoked, they will charge, head down, and attempt to gore whatever is in their path. To this pair of lions, the sight of a rhino is a big incentive for them to move off. Despite the fact it has been dehorned. By humanely removing their horns, rhinos are less attractive to poachers. Eventually, this stump will regrow. For rhinos that have their horns intact, they keep their weapons in good working order by rubbing them against rough surfaces, natural sharpening tools. In comparison, hippos are armed to the teeth. What appears to be a docile creature is one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. And these are why. Sharp incisors and huge canines, which are known as tusks. Daunting weapons to keep predators and rivals at bay. Bulls have the biggest sets. Their razor-sharp tusks can measure 50 centimeters or longer. Out of all land animals, hippos have the largest teeth. Their wide mouths can swing open 180 degrees and can clamp down with one of the strongest bite forces in nature. Twice what a lion can manage. When a hippo appears to be yawning, it's actually a threatening gape, a show of dominance, and a chance to display their dental arsenal. While hippos have keen vision, rhinos do not. They make up for it with their other senses, like sharp hearing. Rhinos' cup-shaped ears can rotate in response to interesting noises to better absorb the information. These huge beasts also boast an excellent sense of smell. Each nostril has a coin-sized patch packed with millions of sensory cells that can detect the faintest odors. The largest area in a rhino's brain is the olfactory center, the region in charge of perceiving smells. Proof of its importance to a rhino's existence. In the animal world, smells are like messages, and rhinos spray and deposit piles of them for others to interpret. Each animal has a signature scent. Their droppings not only identify them, they also communicate their age and gender. In addition, dung heaps can act like flags, marking out territory. Males sometimes spin their tails to send the message farther afield. Both animals can be vocal. Snorts, honks, and roars are in a rhino's repertoire. Hippos are notably loud as well. Apparently, their grunts and rumblings can get up to 115 decibels, similar to standing a few meters back from the speakers at a concert. An awesome talent. Not that either of these impressive animals has a need to grandstand. Hippos and rhinos have long histories that go back about 55 million years. A recent study suggests the ancestors of rhinos first appeared in what is now India. Moving ahead 25 million years, giant hornless rhinos plodded the earth. 5 times heavier than an elephant, they were one of the largest mammals to ever exist. Over time, conditions changed and became frigid. Early rhinos responding by developing thick, woolly coats. The woolly rhino managed to survive until about 10,000 years ago. Its closest living relative is the Sumatran rhino. Rhinos are joined in the modern world by their fellow odd-toed ungulates, tapirs, and equines, such as zebras and horses. The hippopotamus has an equally unusual set of close relatives, cetaceans, better known as whales and dolphins. They both have links back to the same water-loving creature. The two groups eventually branched off, leaving early cetaceans to become fully aquatic. The rest developing into a wide range of four-legged animals. There is a big gap in their fossil history, but according to a recent study, the rest of the hippo's line, about 37 genera, died out roughly 2.5 million years ago. While their larger counterparts have been known about for centuries, the reclusive and nocturnal forest-dwelling pygmy hippo was unknown outside West Africa until the 1840s. Introduced to zoos around the world, they have bred well, and most research is derived from captive specimens. Two fascinating groups of animals with interesting ancestries to match. On the surface, these thick-skinned beasts might seem similar, but they all display their own distinct behaviors. For example, rhinos are usually solitary creatures. Territory is everything to these large mammals, and once established, they're reluctant to share it. Both males and females are fiercely protective of their space. Compared to other species, white rhinos are, however, semi-social. When they do form a group, it's known as a crash. Usually, a crash has up to 6 members. Larger numbers will come together on a temporary basis to take advantage of plentiful food or water supplies. Groups of mothers and calves are often seen roaming together, especially in areas where large predators exist. Lions and hyenas are common threats. In terms of social behavior, common hippos are civil, tolerating each other's company. These groups are known as pods, or bloats. Within a pod, genders tend to wallow with each other. The closest bonds formed amongst hippos are between females and their offspring. When on dry land, hippos are largely independent, usually foraging alone. Mature hippos don't rely on each other for protection, because as adults, these large mammals have no predators. Territorial behavior only happens out in the water. A dominant bull will rule over a small section of a river with about 10 females in residence. Juvenile males are allowed passage as long as they are submissive to the reigning bull. The dominant male acts as security for calves in his territory. Lions, hyenas, and crocodiles are threats to youngsters. Living in warm climates, activity levels are lower during the middle of the day for rhinos and hippos. Conserving energy and moisture is a top priority. Wallowing in water and mud are popular ways to get through the hottest hours. For rhinos, if mud isn't available, they will dust bath instead. Using either technique, their skins are coated and protected from insect attacks. Another way these animals get rid of parasites is by forming partnerships with birds. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement. The birds get a free meal, the beasts have their skin picked clean. It's what's known as a symbiotic relationship. This pygmy hippo is having a similar experience, just underwater, with a fish nibbling off unwanted extras. Elsewhere, a bird is taking advantage of a common hippo's hospitality, using it as a roost to launch off should a meal swim by. For rhinos, these birds offer them another service. If danger approaches, their alarm calls give their host an early warning. Especially helpful to a rhinoceros with poor eyesight. Hippos are known for their aggressive behavior. It escalates during the dry season when there's less water, making things crowded. Competition for breeding rights also causes scuffles amongst male rivals. Exhausted males often retreat to small ponds to recuperate after battles. Slashes and bite marks from these tusk duels are common. Hippos secrete a kind of gel from glands under the skin, which helps keep their skin moisturized, but also has some antiseptic qualities that aids the healing process of wounds. When male rhinos smell that females are receptive, the fighting starts. Often the displays are pure bluff. Whichever bull stands his ground is victorious. Stubborn males will follow through, clashing horns until one concedes through exhaustion or from injury. When the battle is over, the real chase begins, with females only interested in pursuing beaux that have proven themselves worthy. In the wild, love is a harsh battlefield. Hippos and rhinos have no distinct breeding period, although there are peaks during the rainy season. Pregnant black rhinos carry their young for 15 to 17 months. Being critically endangered, the arrival of a zoo-born youngster is especially important. In the wild, when a mother is ready to calve, she'll find a safe, secluded place. This large, private enclosure is perfect for this new mother's needs. It's a fast exit with a soft landing. Her mothering instincts kick in quickly. Rhino pregnancies usually bear a single calf. Newborns range between 35 and 50 kilos. Within a few hours, the calf is able to muster the strength to stand up. And then, it's time to explore. Then rest. Never far from mum. Time for this calf to stretch its legs in the wider world. Those small limbs have a lot of growing to do, but the calf is managing to keep up with their pace. Rhino calves fuel their growing bodies on mother's milk. Female rhinos produce a watery mixture that is low in fat, but high in carbohydrates. This calf is a messy eater. At this early stage, their horns are slight bumps. For the nursing mothers, this would be a relief, not to have a sharp snout constantly nudging into her belly. After 2 months of suckling, this calf is progressing well. From this age, baby black rhinos begin to wean off their mother's milk and start on solids. The calf seems to be sizing its nub of a horn against her impressive pair. It's a persistent thing. She patiently endures her baby's playful nudges. Mother rhinos make excellent jungle gyms for small eggs to work on their climbing skills. Finally, she relents. Despite being obviously outmatched, the calf is eager for a play fight. After their duel, it's time for a well-earned browse. Then, a rematch. Another zoo-born youngster is just as playful. At 4 weeks, this little Indian rhino is a bundle of energy, especially precious with Indian rhinos being classed as endangered. On a diet of milk and greens, this baby rhino is off to a strong start. Even at this early stage, the calf's skin folds look like plates of armor. But nothing says safety like a 2-ton security guard. Like most babies, rhino calves stick close to their mothers. She alone teaches them the ways of the world. Juvenile white rhinos stay with their mums until they're about 2 or 3. By this age, they're ready to find their own territory, and their mother is ready to breed again. Young females can start raising their first calf when they're 6 to 7 years of age. It takes bulls twice as long to start mating. Depending on the species, from start to finish, rhinos can enjoy lifespans that stretch from 35 to 50 years. Hippo mothers can give birth on land or in the water. A single calf arrives after a 10.5-month gestation period. At birth, these hefty babies can weigh up to 55 kilos. If calves get hungry in the water, they're able to nurse, sealing their ears and nostrils shut while suckling. Calves and mothers enjoy a close relationship. These affectionate pairs are often seen cuddling. Young hippos are weaned off their mother's milk by 18 months of age, but don't become fully independent until they're 6 or 7. Juvenile males leave their birth pod to establish their own territory, while the girls stay with a group of females. When conditions are favorable, common hippos can survive for 40 to 50 years. A long life in the wallows. As large herbivores, hippos and rhinos spend much of their time foraging. Black and Asian rhinos are browsers, using their grippy lips to grab and tear off leaves, twigs, and branches. In comparison, white rhinos are grazers. Using their wide, flat upper lips, they mow their way through their habitat. These massive vegetarians usually rove around savannas, open woodlands, and sometimes dense forests. During the wet season, white rhinos have smaller home ranges as things are lush. In general, males roam further, searching for good graze and potential mates. Rhinos never stray far from water, as they need to drink throughout the day. During harsh times, they can go without for several days, surviving on the moisture in their food. Like white rhinos, common hippos are also grazers. But the way they harvest their greens is different. A hippo's incisors and tusks are made for combat, not dining. Instead, their lips snip off vegetation, which is then ground into a pulp by flat molars. Reeds, grasses, and shoots are favorite menu items. Their large, multi-chambered stomachs slowly ferment carbohydrates. Hippos can have up to 2 days' worth of plant matter brewing inside them. Compared to other grass eaters, hippos have extremely lengthy intestines. Their slow rate of digestion allows their bodies to extract as much nutritional value from their food as possible. Hippos can also store food in their large stomachs. They can live off the contents for up to 3 weeks if needed. When times are tough, these plant eaters occasionally resort to dining on carrion to sustain themselves. Hippos usually leave the water late in the day to start their evening graze, spending 4 to 5 hours wandering alone along established pathways, munching as they go. A mature adult can consume about 40 kilos on a daily basis. From the outside, all water sources might look the same, but when it comes to finding an aquatic home, hippos are fussy. While they like shallow rivers, lakes, and swamps, the water needs to be deep enough for them to completely submerge, about 2 meters. Muddy banks are a must for keeping cool while resting. All of these mega herbivores play important roles in their environments. For example, the grazing habits of white rhinos have a twofold effect. Firstly, it increases grass biodiversity. A study has shown areas with rhinos in residence have 20 times more grazing patches available than areas without. Secondly, their constant nibbling lowers a region's fuel load. Wildfires can't burn on short grass stumps. These natural gardeners also help out their smaller neighbors by mowing out paths and making dense areas more accessible. In addition, hippos are good at cutting laneways. Their heavy plodding gradually forms grooves. During the rainy season, the tracks they carve out enhance water flow and lead to the creation of additional pools. In times of drought, these small ponds can be a refuge for fish and a vital source of drinking water. Another way hippos and rhinos enrich their habitat is by making generous deposits, spreading fertilizer and seeds on their travels. Like all living things, they are part of the food chain. Due to their formidable size, adults have no predators and usually only become a food source when they pass on. Calves are well protected, but occasionally fall prey. Hippos and rhinos, two massive vital players in the web of life in their parts of the globe. It would be difficult for either of these grand beasts to go unnoticed. Over the centuries, they've made lasting impressions. In the Sedilo Hills in Botswana, southern Africa, There are thousands of ancient rock paintings created by ancestors of Bushmen. This is from Rhino Cave, thought to date back to the Stone Age. This entire prehistoric art gallery is now a World Heritage Site. This golden statue was discovered at an ancient royal gravesite in South Africa. Rhinos were symbols associated with people of high status. Hippos also featured in the ancient world. This Egyptian figurine was found in a tomb from the Middle Kingdom, going back as far as 2050 BC. The ancient Egyptian goddess Taret was depicted as a combination of a hippo, lion, and crocodile, three animals that were equally feared and respected. She was seen as the protector of pregnant women and their babies. Rhinos once roamed ancient China, proof seen throughout literature and artwork. This wine vessel is from the Han Dynasty, dating back to the 1st century BC. Mosaics have been discovered depicting both animals. This hippo is from 3rd century Rome. This image of a rhino features on a newer floor, these tiles laid out in 12th century Venice. An Indian rhino was the inspiration for this 16th century woodcut by German painter Albrecht Dürer. In modern times, they can be seen on currency. And as bright stars in spectacular light shows. Breathtaking in art and in reality. Despite the affection felt for these animals, hippos and rhinos are in trouble in the wild. Rhinos have been targeted for centuries due to the supposed and unproven medicinal powers of their horns. Poaching, habitat loss, and military action have caused drastic declines in rhinoceros populations. Dehorning programs have reduced poaching rates, but haven't stopped them completely. A recent study estimates there are 29,500 rhinos left in the world today. A decade ago, there were roughly 9,000 less. This increase is encouraging, showing that conservation programs are working for some species. Javan and Sumatran rhinos in particular are struggling, each with under 100 animals left in existence. The precious few remaining are heavily protected. A semi-wild breeding program is planned for Sumatran rhinos, with hopes of boosting their numbers. Indian, black, and southern white rhinos have all managed to bounce back from the brink of extinction. Protection law, anti-poaching teams, and other conservation efforts playing a huge role in their gradual recovery. Sadly, the plight of northern white rhinos in war-torn regions went unchecked, and recovery efforts were impossible for this subspecies. As of 2018, only 2 elderly females remain, both in captivity. They are basically considered to be extinct. As for pygmy hippos, they are naturally rare, but habitat loss, pollution, and hunting has caused them to be classified as endangered. Experts believing there are less than 3,000 left in the wild. Luckily, they breed well in captivity. Insurance populations in zoos will ensure their ongoing presence, but their wild cousins need stronger conservation measures. Common hippos are in a better position, although their numbers are still in decline. Their ivory tusks are prized, as is their meat. Classified as vulnerable, estimates have up to 150,000 wild hippos left. As hippos rely on bodies of fresh water, drought conditions also pose problems for them. Better conservation of their habitat and stronger protection laws would greatly improve the future of the common hippo. Hippos and rhinos, some of the largest animals left roaming the planet. With our help, these magnificent beasts will hopefully prevail for generations to come.